We are watching a lot of history take place in front of our eyes. You see, Ukraine is doing 4 different things at once, and Russia is unable to kind of look at one spot and control everything, including the narrative. And we're at a point now where everyone's just waiting for Putin to either decide that he wants to give up or move troops around in a way so that he gives something else up. So let's go ahead and just kind of break down where we're at. In the Kursk region, Ukrainian troops are moving deeper and deeper in. They're at the point now to where they're in the Kursk region and they're about to entangle or encircle Russian troops, about 3,000 of them. 3,000 of those troops that are in Kursk, the Ukrainians have been following the Seine River in order to get them in a position to where they can encircle those Russian troops. 6 months ago, we would have never thought this would be a thing. And Ukrainians in Kursk, they're not slowing down. They're moving about 1 to 2 kilometers every single day in comparison. Because a lot of people are saying, well, aren't the Russians doing a lot of movement in Donetsk? They are, but it's about 5 kilometers a week. So as you can tell, Ukrainians are taking more and more land. And if you look at the first 2 weeks, the incursion into Russia, Ukrainians are 7-fold in the amount of land that they have taken in 2 weeks versus what Russia has been taking since Avdiivka, a few months now. And so it opens up a lot of questions. What should Russia do? Does Russia take men from the front lines in Donetsk and bring them back to Russia to defend their homeland, which in terms means that Ukraine would then take that land back? Or does Russia say, screw it, we're going to put our resources into Donetsk and continue to push forward? And as you're kind of looking at the maps and seeing at all the warnings and things that are coming on, it looks like Russia is going to keep most of its troops in Donetsk. And we're saying that because A, the movement, the direction they're going in, and B, because Ukrainians are now getting ready to evacuate some settlements just kind of north of where it's going. And the military is giving these people about 2 weeks, which means it's probably going to be 3 weeks until they expect Russia to be there. And so that tells you that Ukrainians are assuming that Russia's not going to be bringing troops to Kursk, even though Russia had already. I mean, it's weird. If you read multiple points, you know that multiple different stories, you would know that there's been a lot of talk that some troops are there, some troops are getting ready to go there. There had been troops there. Russia's building these fortifications. It's kind of strange. We're at a really, really weird point right now where there's just so much going on. So you've got that going on in Kursk. You've got Ukrainians and Russians going head-to-head in Donetsk. Ukrainians have been attacking different places, either just south of Kherson or in Crimea. I mean, if you just saw today, they attacked the ferry crossing, which is massive because, as many people would not know, that bridge is kind of useless. Russia really hasn't been moving much of their military equipment over that bridge, and so they've been using ferries to bring things back and forth. And well, earlier today, Ukrainians found one of those train ferries filled with, I think, 13 to 20 of different oil trains. And so what do? They hit it. It exploded. It caught fire. This thing is impressive. I mean, they went out of their way. Now, this port is located just on the other side of the Sea of Azov, which means that Ukrainians had to get over Russian fortifications to get there to destroy it. All that being said, Ukrainians are destroying things in Crimea left and right. Air defense systems, air bases, oil depots, you name it, anything in that area has been destroyed. And Ukrainians are not stopping there. They're heading over to every single military air base that Russia has within, 50, 60 kilometers of the border, and they're hitting it with drones. They're knocking out whatever they can so that Russia can push back their aircraft further and further away to the point to where they're useless. So as you're seeing, Russia is being attacked on all fronts. In Kherson, well, at least heading down south from Kherson, heading towards Crimea, in Crimea. On the other side, on the Sea of Azov, in Kursk. There's supposedly another front which we could talk about from Sumy, but that's not really anything to think about. And now, even better, we're seeing that Ukrainians are now pushing back Russians who are in the Kharkiv region. Because if you remember a few months ago, the Russians had dug deep. They were trying to get to Kharkiv city. And luckily, Ukrainians were able to stop them, thanks in most part because the U.S. finally decided to pass some kind of package to get things over to Ukraine. Well, now, according to news that came out today, Ukraine had launched a counterattack there and advanced 2 square kilometers. Now, that report came out with a few different videos you can see kind of playing on right now, and so there's a lot that is happening just there alone. But looking at the larger, grander scheme of things, you have some other big officials saying that we're at a very tight moment where Putin can literally go one or two ways. Like I said before, which way is he going to go? I mean, from the facts, it does look like he's going to try his hardest to stay in Donetsk. Does he have the resources? If he does, for how long? What else does Russia have up their sleeves? All questions we don't know. And as we're moving more and more into fall, as Ukraine is using F-16s, as they're using potentially longer range missiles sometime down the line, we're going to see Ukraine destroy more and more things. I mean, they destroyed those bridges and those pontoons. They destroyed a couple other different command posts that Russia had in Kursk. And obviously, you still have Russia coming forward saying, oh, Ukraine's going to the Kursk nuclear plant. They're going to do this, X, Y, and Z. And now supposedly a drone was found. All that being said, it is gearing up to be such an interesting fall that we're going to see a lot of movement. The question is where, because right now it's just happening everywhere. And so the question that I was asked today by one of my subscribers on TikTok was, at this very moment, if you were to do a screenshot and say who is winning, who do you think it is? And that's a grand question, because Russia still holds that land in Ukraine. And Ukrainians barely have a foothold in Russia. I mean, they went through they are building fortifications, but they don't have a crazy amount of equipment and fortifications built already. Though in the south, Ukrainians are destroying everything. There's no air defense system. Russia has no ships. They have a couple submarines over there, and Russia cannot supply Crimea. So it is such a strange piece of history that we're in right now, especially because Ukraine might get 3,000 Russians surrendering, hopefully surrendering and not have to take them out. And we can maybe see an exchange. I have never seen this much action in 1 week. And that's why there's really no answer to that question right now. Obviously, we want Ukraine to win. At this very moment, I feel like if we were to look in the past 3 days and just see the advancements both sides had, it would be Ukraine, 100%. Now, Russia, we're getting to a point to where they're going to have to consider some kind of ceasefire. But as many Russian officials, or at least publications, are saying to other Russians, Ukrainians being inside of Russia is the new normal, which then makes you believe that Russia has no plans of stopping anytime soon. But enough about me. What do you guys think about this? Let me know in the comment section below. There's a lot of stuff going on. I know today Hungary put out a whole thing saying they need to have a ceasefire because of what Ukraine did in Kursk. And then you had Russia saying, well, we were going to have a ceasefire, but because Ukraine came into Kursk, that's off the table. That's BS. It's not true. There's a lot of Russian propaganda coming out right now, especially because Ukrainians they're winning. So let me know what you think in the comment section below, and be sure to follow me for more. I'm Joey. Stay safe. See you later. Bye.